Money or what? Why do people choose to become entrepreneurs and start a startup? My name is Ardian Prechi. I'm the director at the I3 Lab, and this is...
My name is Horich. I'm a PhD student of the I3 Lab.
So today's episode, we'll be talking about why people decide to become entrepreneurs, why people go into this thing called startup world, especially when we know that most startups fail and it's not easy to go through that journey. Why do people do that?
Yeah, and just to fill you guys in for the context, Ardian, he's going to come from the practical side, and me as a PhD student, I'll try my best to fill in with the theories and stuff so that you guys can get both sides of the story.
I thought a lot about this, and I talked a lot to friends of mine who started businesses, small, scalable, non-scalable businesses, and it's always sometimes a mystery of like, why do people go into business when it's difficult, it's hard, most of them are failing all the time, it's going to take a long time to make money, we can go and get a job, get a 401k, build with it, a retirement plan, pension and all that kind of stuff. And for me, a lot of my friends, depending where you're coming from and what part of the world you're at, it's split between, there is small entrepreneurship where people do it out of necessity.
Right.
So in the smaller scale where, how you're not getting a really good job and you go and buy a restaurant or you start a pizza shop or things of that nature and you're like, hey, I'm going to make more money of this.
Right.
I'll work a lot, but I'm going to make money. And then there's the other side where I personally belong to is where we don't really know why exactly we will go into startups and into entrepreneurship.
Okay.
But we like the freedom. We like to create things, innovate, and things of that nature. What do you think?
Okay, you're right. You actually know about theory too, right? Because necessity startup or necessity entrepreneur is one of the concepts saying that anyone who wants to be entrepreneurs, there are two sides of the coins. The first one is startup pool, and then the second one is startup push. So the startup push means the necessity entrepreneurs, meaning that you have to do it to really get a better life and trying to create money for yourself. But startup pool is more you think that's this opportunity for you, and you think it will be really beneficial for you to just go there and then get the money, or do something for the world, or create a really social impact. There's also some pushback in terms of startup necessity, because sometimes people don't really like the concept, thinking that people are forced to start up because they're poor or they don't have enough resources. So it has been a really interesting journey for me. I still on the fence whether this is real or not real, or is it true or not true.
So what's your, apart from like research that you have to kind of stay rigorous with it, and what's your hunch? What's your sort of opinion so far from what you know? Like,
I personally, I don't really know anyone who feels like they have to start up, because for me, when you take into account the risk or the risk and reward system, when you think about it, people who actually start up, they think more about the rewards, right? Because in the startup journey, as risk is much higher than reward most of the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when people who are poor or just don't have equal opportunity, they don't feel like that risk will push them to go into a startup journey, which has high risk already. So I don't think this is something that is just true for me. Just just from really really simple.
So you don't think that category of people are saying, okay, what do I have to lose?
Yeah,
I'm going to try this. What if this works?
Right.
Sky's the limit. So maybe.
So every time when we listen to startup founding stories, right, they will be like they're dirt poor, they don't have any money in the bank accounts, and then they just become a billionaire in like a year or two, which I've been skeptical about that. What do you think?
I mean, I could talk about those for a long time. I dislike them for a very reason. For example, like so many myths around the startup world. One of them is how ex-founder went and opened his startup in a garage. We won't name
Oh, wait,
names
so
in this podcast.
when you say ex-founder, you didn't mean
No, I don't mean X, Y, Z.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
Not
Just
the
to make
founder,
that
not
clear.
the founder of X.
okay.
Most often, if you dig into the stories of these entrepreneurs,
Right.
they're, let's say, mid-30s, working for a hedge fund,
Yeah.
doing really well, and then quitting that job with a lot of confidence, a lot of high-end contacts with a
Right.
really great Rolodex
Yeah.
of cards, and then going to their garage, which is usually probably bigger
Mhm.
than my home, and starting out, and their first funders is their parents with $500,000 investment, and so on and so forth. So my point is, I'm not trying to villainize any of that. That's great. It's absolutely amazing.
Right.
But it's a distinction that those are exception to the rules. They're
Right.
not what happens every day.
Yeah.
And by making it sound that happens to everyone,
Right.
it creates a lot of confusion
Yeah.
around
I agree.
how difficult it is and what it takes to actually build a
Right.
startup for what you for the normal people who don't have access to those
Yeah.
type of opportunities and that kind of money.
Right.
And that's a lot of confusion there, and
Yeah.
especially in a lot of videos and podcasts.
Right. I completely agree with you. Startup, you actually have to work hard on it. You have to build it. It's your company. You have to build it. It doesn't just come in 1 day or 2 days. And the reason why I think people just, like this story so much and it just has been selling and then you're flying around the internet so much is because it just, it feels good to them. They can just feel like, okay, they have this opportunity that even if they're, have no money in the bank account, they can be a billionaire one day. So that's why people kind of lean toward that story. But at the end of the day, I think this is one of the myths too. You actually have to work really, really hard to be on that spot.
So even for those founders who are lucky enough to have those type of
Yeah.
opportunities, they then have to work really hard.
Right.
So as the Japanese saying that there is no free lunch, there is no free lunch. You
Mhm.
really have to work really hard in your life. And especially if you are working in a startup, you have to work double hard.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago when I was in sales, before I went into startups fully, I had an old manager of mine who said, you only need to work half a day. He said, you don't have to work the whole day. It doesn't matter the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours.
Yeah.
Pick which one you want to do. So you really have to put 12 hours, sometimes 16-hour days when your startups.
Yeah.
And you have to build a great team and do all these things right. And
Right.
there's a chance, a high chance, that
Mhm.
you'll fail. Back to the original questions. Why do people do that?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Oh.
it freedom?
Just my personal opinion is that this missions, the concept of missions is something that have been pushing startup students and founders in general to create a startup and then work on that startup. Because, as we have already established, startups really hard. They have to have this strong sense of something, which I think is its mission that they have to hold on to so that they can just keep working on it and then, grow. And then we can categorize that missions into 2 big boxes. The first one is social mission, and the other one is economic missions. And it just sounds like what it sounds like. Social missions, you care about the communal service, your community, the betterment of the world. An economic mission is on the profit, long-term profit, and then the betterment of yourself and how you can just make more money, basically. And that is what me and Alan, another PhD student, again, are still working on to really establish that and then try to publish the paper studying how and why startup students actually start a company. Because when we look at the context of students, they are young, right? And they have a whole life in front of them. But they really, really need to have missions for them to really start a company, because they can, most people can just go into employment and then just start working jobs 9 to 5. They don't have to take this risk. So our hunch was that they have to have the sense of mission stronger than just ordinary people for them to be able to take the final leap and then start a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, from the 2 years that I've been here at WPI now, working with student startups, you can see that the majority of them, yes, everybody wants to make money. That's a
Right.
given. That's normal. That's not need to
Yeah.
be super discussed in the
Mhm.
sense of like we all
Yeah, that's
know
totally
that
fine. Yeah.
you know life needs certain amount of money to be. You need to support yourself, but most of them have a mission beyond that.
Right.
So most of these student startups that we've been coaching, we've been talking to, they want to create change,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to be a catalyst for change. They want to have an impact
Right.
on wherever they're building in their own
Mhm.
industry, and they want to a certain extent,
Mm.
be a catalyst for the betterment of the society, given
Right.
an industry or people or humanity as a whole, or if it's climate tech or if it's
Yeah.
different industry. I think that's what sort of drives them more than, oh, if we make it, then we will make, I don't know, 10 more bucks than otherwise,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah. And then, when you talk about WI students, one thing that I've noticed is that WI students actually have tech in their hand. They have been working on that tech for a while, and they have this innovation that they don't know what to do with. Most of them will just go to the research or just patent it and just leave it like that. Some of them will just throw them away altogether because they don't want to work on it. But I would actually want to, show them that there are students that bringing their ideas from just having ideas into actually create a startup out of it. And there are people that actually have been really successful in terms of their journey in just Sweden University alone. They have been going out of universities and then winning a lot of global competitions or even regional competitions. So I would like to really encourage the PY students, and that is one of the reasons why we are here too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from the work that we do at the I3 Lab, it's pretty amazing to see what opportunity we have to have an impact on WPI students. And we are very fortunate because they can pretty much build anything. So
Yeah.
we can help them with their learning of business mechanics and
Mhm.
concepts and
All right.
knowing how to
Yeah.
start a startup because
Mhm.
they at least know how to build.
Right.
And I think it's pretty
Yeah.
good spot for WPI students is to
Mhm.
be.
I actually want to expand on that a little bit more. So there are these misconceptions around the school that the I3 Lab is just the event organizer. We just create pitch competitions, we create networking events, and that's it. How would you reply to them, and just tell us about like day to day of what I3 Lab is doing?
Thanks for bringing the I3 Lab. It's definitely not an event organizer. We do
Yeah.
organize events because events
part of it.
are very important
Right.
in building a healthy entrepreneurial
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem and engaging students, igniting their desire, put them in groups and in workshops and in events where share ideas and network with their other students, and it helps them say, hey, maybe I can do this too. And those are the reasons why we do these events. And there is a method why an ecosystem
Mhm.
has certain parts like events and workshops and the
Yeah.
founders and how do you engage them. We do way more than that. We do a lot of work in programming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the I3 Lab, that's the 3 stands for Ideate, Innovate, Incubate.
Right.
And this is how we help any students with their entrepreneurial journey. If you have an idea, you come to us and we'll coach you how to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
We have built a lot of coursework now that we have in Canvas that is available to WPI students. They come to us, they fill a short and then we put them on the ideation stage. Because at some point, somebody's going to say, hey, please send me a pitch deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to run home trying to build a pitch deck
Work
until
on it,
3
yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Whereas if you have gone through our programming, you'd have built a pitch deck. You
Yeah.
have to have built a value proposition. you'd have looked at the business model canvas that we do and what your business model is going to look like.
Yeah.
And the joke that I usually do with the students is like, if I knock on your dorm room at 3 a.m. in the morning and throw a bucket of water over you and I wake you up, can you tell me in 30 seconds, what is it that you do? What is it that your company does?
Yeah, they should be able to do it.
And they should be able to do that, and we teach them how to do that.
Yeah.
And then we put them in the innovation stage course where we crank the heat up on them and we have them dig deeper into understanding their business better and do better customer discovery, figuring out if there's a need for their business. And after that, we do the Summer Accelerator, which is a wonderful program that we did last year. Then we connect with VCs, angel investment, other incubators. So we continuously try to connect and help them better move the dial forward and eventually raise money or find customers if they want to boost. So those events that we do are sort of a necessity around to create and engage students.
Part of it is because we are new organization too, so that events we have been putting a lot of efforts into building the events and then making sure that everyone, or most of the people here know about the event, so that they will know about our lab and then hopefully come to us and then we can develop the ideas. We can provide one-on-one resources, one-on-one mentoring, and we can match them with a lot of alumni or networks that we have, any VCs, and that will be directly funneled into your idea and your startups. And that is actually how the i3 Lab is trying to build this startup.
The work that you get through a course and just a generic university course, which is very useful, very great, very needed, very necessary. It's very different from what we do at the i3 Lab for a very simple reason. You're sitting in a course, usually you're getting information. Sometimes it's compulsory, sometimes it's elective, and sometimes you're tired or not, and you're putting different efforts, which is not wrong. It's just that's how life happens. When you're going through the coursework that we have at the i3 Lab, when you're coming to a meeting with one of your mentors or two of your mentors, however we matched you up, because everything we do at the i3 Lab rotates around mentorship. And we're very fortunate to have great alumni that have stepped up to help student startups, and these people have started numerous companies, and they're very experts in different fields, we're very fortunate there. When these students are working on their startups, it's almost like they're imprinting this learning into their brain. They're not just getting information, because now they deeply care because they're applying to something that they want. So the focus, the attention to detail, and no matter how they go through it, it's of a different nature. Not just, I'm getting some information here, I'm going to do some homework, hand it in, hopefully I get a decent grade, and I'm going to bounce. Whereas this is like, I care because I'm building my company, so now I'm paying more attention what value proposition is. Now I'm paying more attention, what is a VC? Oh, okay, I might need this down the road, so I need to... okay, this mentor, what does he do again? Oh, okay, this is what he's teaching me. I'm going to pay attention because this is relevant to me right now. Right. And it's important to me because it will move my company forward. And that creates sort of almost like an imprint in your brain that even if you want to forget it, sometimes you can't.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's sort of in a sense by going through that. And it could be, we do at the i3 Lab at WPI, and other incubators do that at different universities. Right. But that's kind of the icing in the cake, per se. But when they're working for their startup and they're going through their through this work with us, then they learn that how to evolve it and do it in a way that even if they were to pitch outside, it's very helpful.
Yeah, but again, just to make it clear, we are not saying that if students come from the class is wrong. It's good because they have this intro of the entrepreneurship and everything, even though they are more structured in a way that they're less flexible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, we're not saying that it's a bad thing or it's a good thing.
Oh no, they have
Yeah.
they have an introduction to it. It's a
Right.
it's a good thing. It's
Right,
the
but-
more introductions you have to that world, the
Yeah.
better it is.
Yeah,
So
but
it's not-
what we're saying is that it's just kind of it imprints in their brain that they
Differently.
have to put these words in or this structure that they have because they went through the class before, and that just how entrepreneurship should be. Which I don't really agree of saying that entrepreneurship should have just one structured pitch style, because if you look at Techstar, Y Combinators, they have so many styles of pitching. It's just so many styles. It's like it's so different. I can't.
yeah, there's the different
emphasize
ones
it
because
enough.
there's so many ways to tell a
Yeah.
story.
Right.
And then there's so many styles to tell a story, and depending on what type of personality you have yourself,
That's true. Yeah.
you should build a way and a method to tell that story about your
Yeah.
startup
Mm-hmm.
that resonates with your own person. But
It's
to
pretty
sort
fun.
of to conclude for this intro episode of the i3 Lab, I think is safe to say that for the most part, entrepreneurs, and especially young entrepreneurs, they go into it with a bigger mission than just money.
Right.
I think that's safe to say. And also we'll do more episodes
Yeah.
of different themes.
Definitely.
And if for hopefully the listeners or the viewers in the future would love to hear your comments
Yeah.
whenever we post this out, why you have gone into entrepreneurship, and would like to see some comments and why people did that.
Yeah, and even if for the students who are just skeptical of the journey or anything, or just think that they want to bring their ideas to the next step, please come talk to us. I2 Lab
Yeah,
Innovation Studio,
absolutely.
second floor. And we would like to thank the Global Lab too for letting us using the space and the equipment.
Yeah, I mean, the Global Lab's been super amazing to us. They have all this
Yeah, really helpful.
podcasting room,
Thank you so much.
and which makes us look really
Yeah.
stellar, and it's thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you guys know who you are. So thanks for all the help.
All right.